Welcome in. I am currently waiting for an emergency meeting to start from Congressman Mike Quigley. Hi, Minnie. Hi, Peace. Welcome in. I thought I'd do this before they started talking. They're setting up right now. It's supposed to start at 6 o'clock. We have the ACLU, 2 other speakers, and the congressman talking about what rights people have at this time. Not my usual, but I saw that this meeting came up and it's in my area. Again, he's a congressman, so you guys get to see how the sausage is made here. This is a town hall meeting, so the public is welcome. Did not find out about the location until about an hour before. Again, for everyone's safety. Hi, guys. I know Monday's my day off, but it's what the congressman is going to say. And I think might be interesting, might not be. We'll see. If it gets really boring, then I'll leave. Hey, Cricket. Welcome in. I think the animals were much more fun, but we'll see how this goes. It's a beautiful auditorium here. Really, really pretty. I've never been in this high school before. I already got the okay from them to live stream. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. Again, right now I'm at Lakeview High School, waiting for Congressman Mike Quigley to start the panel. Different panel than what we're used to. Thank you, Peace. I wanted to make it out to the Broadview City Council meeting, but unfortunately, after my shift, it was impossible to make it out there in time for when it was starting. Again, it's open to the general public, but you had to sign up for a ticket. Welcome in to an emergency meeting held by Congressman Mike Quigley. And we are at the Lakeview High School. I did get permission to live stream. Since we're waiting for that to start, let's go out in the front and I can show you the pamphlets and see if they have a schedule. They do. These are all the papers. The National Immigrant Justice Center. How to have a family emergency plan. I like this. I'm going to take some of these cards for the family because you know what? These cards aren't out at the, at the detention center at all. Here's all the things they have here. Actually, I'm going to take one of these too to bring it out to the tent. I try to help them with paperwork, again, for the families. That is the most important thing to me right now.
I just work for TRP.
Oh, okay. No, this is awesome. No. I'm live
like.
streaming only because every day but Sunday and Monday, I am out at the detention center, live streaming the whole day.
Really important. Thank you.
So I want to bring this out. We have a help tent out there.
Yeah.
Of course, there's no government agency helping the families.
Yeah.
So we see them come out distraught, crying, medicine in hand, or their papers for the people inside. And it's helplessness, because we don't have anything to go on out there. So,
take it as much as you need. We have so many copies of everything. And
I might, on the way back out, I might grab some more of the ICIR cards and that just to have out there for, like the family plan, unfortunately, is a little late because they've already been detained. So, but there's just no help for them out there at all. None. You'd think they would, all the agencies they have out there right now, I'm live streaming. But I keep saying this over and over that they have 4 different police departments, but they have nothing for, no one can help the families to know where to go, what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it. They just know that they're inside there. So it's hard to watch her. No, because I just saw this on, yesterday actually. So I thought, well, let's hear if there's anything. So welcome in everybody. Right now I have 200 people almost in.
Okay. Wow.
So again, I try to be as unbiased as I can out there, only to show everybody that, it's not a riot. There's no violence. There's paint drying. And it gets boring after a while, but, again, just showing what's up. So, well, I'm going to go sit back down, but I wanted to check I told them I was going to go see if there's any paperwork I could get.
Okay, yeah. This will still be there.
Okay, thank you. Yes, if you could hit the like button. I don't ask much. I do have some cards. She saw me cramming a whole bunch of them in my pocket. It should be starting soon. It said 6 o'clock. So once it starts, then I won't be talking as much, guys, because I don't want to be rude. Welcome in, everybody. I am at Lakeview High School, where there has been an emergency meeting scheduled tonight by Congressman Quigley. Sorry to interrupt everybody's dinner hour. Lakeview is a large community, is very diverse. And is just a few miles north of downtown Chicago. So this is town hall panel style. Peace, did you mean to send me that? That is awesome what you sent, though. You're so amazing at doing those. Big Chief, welcome in to a town hall meeting with Congressman Mike Quigley of Illinois. Rodney, welcome in. Again, once they start, I will stop talking.
I think our consensus right now is that Coke was easier. Because you had some masks, you had to just.
We're in control, so even though we don't think so.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I said it. You're not being my career.
I was like, why am I getting...
We had to plan we had our homecoming a couple weeks ago, and I found myself at 3 o'clock.
Again, this is a town hall panel discussion.
United States reps. And I'm like, what's your protocol? I mean, I don't know what the protocol is if companies can show up. So, what's your protocol? And what are we going to do?
My stress. I'm not protesting. Why I'm scared out there is because there's so many things I have to watch out for, right? You know, it's incredibly stressful out there to deal with. You don't know who those protesters are, you know. Who's trouble in the crowd? Who isn't? Who's an agent in the crowd? Who isn't? Are they going to put a sniper up on the roof? Where's the drones? What's the state police doing? Why do they have riot police? Once you have all that stuff thrown at you, you get a little shy. Today I don't have that. Besides that, today was the Zen day. So, I'll come in. I do see someone from Japan in here. You're going to have to type in English, though, so ganbatte. Peace, that was just his name. That wasn't a statement, I don't believe. It could have been. I'm a little rusty right now. Yes, this is far away from the detention center. It's about an hour drive northeast of where the detention center is located. I'm not sure if that's actually going to be the discussion tonight. I believe it's more about your legal rights. Because they have been arresting people, videotaping or standing, watching what's going on. So the ACLU is here too. So yes, welcome to a semi-relaxing time. Tomorrow morning, I will be back out in my usual station. haven't seen what's gone on out there since Saturday when I left. So we shall see what's changed or not changed. Hi, welcome in, PB. Bless you. Okay, I don't know why it's about 7 after. Although, knowing politicians, no one ever starts on time. I wish I could have been at the city council meeting in Broadview, but again, it was just too far. I would have never made it after my shift out there before it started, so hopefully we'll get some information on that later. This is Congressman Mike Quigley from Illinois. He's holding a panel tonight about knowing your rights. They will have a class after for people to learn what they can and cannot do. I'm not going to stay for that. Been there, done that. But I just wanted to show this first part live if they ever start. Welcome. I did ask permission to live stream. I talked to Congressman Quigley personally to make sure it was okay. And I was granted that. Welcome in. Hopefully they should be starting. This is Lakeview High School in Illinois, a suburb that's north of downtown Chicago. Congressman Mike Quigley called this an emergency meeting so people know their rights. Being that there's more and more people arrested or detained for filming the actions of the ICE agents. The only restriction they gave me was that I couldn't film the students, which I wouldn't do anyway, so I was pretty okay. Welcome in to an emergency meeting from Congressman Mike Quigley. He's going to have a panel with, I think we're about ready to start, maybe. He just came back. Maybe not. It was supposed to start at 6. Sorry, guys. More members of the public are coming in. I think they're waiting for people to sit down.
We'll come up front. It's easier to hear and so forth. Very good.
Welcome in. We're waiting for the meeting to start, the panel. This is a town hall at Lakeview High School. Of course, the congressman is starting at least 15 minutes late. It looks like they're about ready to start. Again, this is an emergency town hall. There's Congressman Quigley going onto the stage. Once it starts, I will stop talking.
State General Assembly. And then outside, we also have staff from Representative Williams and Vice President's office who are here to help direct traffic and explain what their offices are doing in this tenuous time. I just also want to do a quick thank you to our staff. Everyone from our district office is here tonight or at our community meetings. Hi, Rip Guy. And our staff is currently working without pay because we believe in healthcare for people. And so I just want to say that I'm incredibly proud of each and every day to work with this team because they are dedicated to doing great things for people. So I'm going to kick it over to my boss first for some opening remarks.
This is Congressman Mike Quigley.
Good evening. First, I want to thank you for being here. We scheduled this event last week to start putting it together, but something's happened since then, right here in Lakeview High School in the community. So before we begin, I want to acknowledge something that happened just this last Saturday. We are joined by a 16-year-old Lakeview High School student, Pelia. Her father was taken from the Home Depot parking lot on Saturday morning. She is 16 years old and is fighting cancer right at this very moment. And now her father has been stolen from her. He was taken from his vehicle. Unfortunately, the family has limited information on his apprehension. But when they arrived to pick up his vehicle, they found dents in the window from the attack. They don't know where it is right now. His attorney who's here tonight does not know where it is right now. We don't know where it is right now. Senator Durbin, Senator Duckworth, and our office are trying to help the family, but the reality is this administration is purposely making it
There she is right there, guys.
People who have been taken. So the father's attorney, Ophelia, her mother, they're with us. If you're okay, if you stand if you can.
I'm not going
Please
to
let us
film that.
recognize the family.
Well, that's just the attorney, but her mom's here. Oh, goodness.
Administration claims that they're arresting the worst of the worst, moving on, they are worst of the worst. Can't imagine a justification for what's taking place here. The story's not the only one. In fact, it's the norm now. I've been told of autistic children being taken by ICE, parents detained in front of elementary school, a well-known neighborhood that lived with Molly Lane was picked up by ICE at a community flea market was raided. This is not making us safer. It's just cruel. Stories like this are why we're all here tonight. I want to thank Alderman Bennett Lawson and Alderman Landmark for co-sponsoring this event with me. You will hear from both of them shortly. We also owe a huge thank you to Ed Yonka from ACLU and Tobias Siegel from the Resurrection Project for joining us tonight and the great work their organizations are doing. Toby will be doing double duty as both a panelist and our trainer, so please give her some extra appreciation. And we really thank Mr. Representative Williams, State Senator Sarah Feigenholz, Cook County Commissioner Bridget Dagnan for again supporting tonight's event. I also finally want to thank Central Romero, One North Side, who are also here tonight to help answer questions and more importantly, giving tangible ways to support our communities in this moment. I'd also like to thank our host, Lakeview High School and Principal B.J. Caracalo. Now, I want to make something very clear.
Thank you,
House
Scooter.
rules say I'm not allowed to say that you should donate to any organization. So I am not saying that you should donate to these incredible organizations. But I will say that they all have tables here tonight. So, it's a scary time. We asked for things that we can do. I'm going to talk about one other thing later. You know, we were down in Pilsen and Little Village at the businesses there. Some of them are down 20 to 50%. So,
Sure, everybody's afraid to go outside.
Late night dinner, come back later, have a nightcap, and help those businesses that are being ravaged right now. When you have excellent food, that would be a great idea. It is a scary time for people.
Thank you, Scooter.
But the best way to fight fear is with knowledge and community. That's what you're all doing today. The line I've used from my friend John Lewis is, we all came over here in different ships, but we're in the same boat now. So thanks again.
Oh, that's a great saying, actually.
Our friend from the 44th Ward, the great Alderman Bennett Lawson.
These are all local politicians here. Again, I had no idea. You just said it was an emergency meeting tonight, so.
I'm Bennett Lawson. I have the honor of representing the 44th Ward, which is just west and south of where we are today. But almost all of my ward is in the Lakeview High School District, and all of it's in the 5th Congressional District. Mike Quigley is my constituent. So thank you, Mike, and to your team for putting this together. For as much time as he gets spent in D.C., he spends a lot of time here. And he's there in our community, he's at community meetings and organizing events like this, and it shows. So thank you so much. You know, the 44th Ward has always been a place of inclusion.
Actually, it's
Whether that is
70% have no criminal records whatsoever.
Disabilities, we welcome everyone, and that has not changed. A couple years ago, when we were sitting around us from Texas, our community showed up big. We had a mutual aid society, we had supplies, we had resources, we did everything we could to make sure that there were winter coats on kids who were sitting outside. It's a tragedy that we had to roll with and meet in the moment, and we did. And I know the Lakeview community is feeling the
He's talking about the buses that arrive from Texas.
Actions over the weekend, two of them right here in Lakeview, where our community said no, that this is not acceptable. What's happening is not constitutional. We spent a lot of time on constitutional policing in this city. We got a long way to go, but we know that agents that don't have badges, that aren't wearing uniforms, that are covering their faces, there's something that's being hidden, and that's not right. When people are being disappeared, right? That's not right. And so we know that our frustration, we have to turn into action on behalf of our neighbors, to let our neighbors know that we stand with them, we'll stick together always, and have their backs. And so I'm really, really honored to be here with you tonight, to have our federal partners here. I will tell you to donate to anybody who is helping folks out. I don't think I have that restriction. Because it makes a difference, and we're a community that has that ability. I know there's some folks who are retired, who have the wonderful gift of time. And that's something that's really, really important right now, too.
See?
As we keep an eye out for each other, especially around schools, parks, hospitals, all those places where we really should be taken care of. And failure to know that your community stands with you through everything. And that's not going to change ever, no matter what that guy says. So thank you all for being here tonight. It's an honor to introduce my colleague and neighbor, Alderman Matt Martin.
They actually have guards at the schools now to make sure the kids are safe.
Thank you very much, Bennett. Big thank you to Congressman Quigley for putting this event together, and to your entire team. I think it really needs to be emphasized that we are not one-person offices, and a number of people in this audience are staff members in various offices who do critical work who don't get thanked enough, and I do want to uplift that. I also want to again shout out Principal Raphael for being a terrific leader, not just in Lakeview High School, but all across our Lakeview community. You can acknowledge him one more time. And then I just want to again welcome and say hello to the Torres DeBuckle family. It's so good to see both of you here. We obviously wish it was under different circumstances, but it's all been lost in action. Our community loves and supports you. We're here to do whatever we can, and we're just happy to be with you this evening. I want to emphasize a little bit more of this personal connection, because in many parts of the 47th Ward, just a few Fridays ago, we saw ICE going all across our community, detaining people for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and really terrorizing them, and causing tremendous trauma all across the 47th Ward and beyond. My son was at Pearson Elementary, just a few blocks north of here on Lawrence near Ravenswood, and he had to have a conversation just a few days before that Friday that I was so upset had happened in his class, which is why people were wearing whistles, why the class was going to hear about ICE more often, and to have that age-appropriate but still impossibly challenging conversation about what ICE was doing across our community. And in talking with him that Friday, when there were ICE agents repeatedly circling his elementary school, and to ask him, how did you feel? So, you know, Dad, I was scared. But then I saw neighbors standing on every single corner between where I get out of school, the school doors, and where our home is. And that made me feel better. And I want to underscore how he felt, because so many of you are coming here this evening to figure out how you can help other people across the 47th Ward, the 44th Ward, the 5th Congressional District, and all across the city feel better. So I want to thank you all, our offices, our resources. We are in constant communication. If there's any way in which you have questions about how to support, we will figure out how to plug you in. And it's just so important that all of you understand that your leaders are coming together across our community to help keep us strong, help keep us safe. And I just want to say, both as an alderman and as a parent, how grateful I am for all of you here this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to buy that, Congressman.
Questions and then directing the work on this here. So,
I already talked to him.
we received several questions about how Rep. Quigley is fighting back. We got this from Evan and North Center, Scott from Park Ridge, DT from Norwood Park. So we're just going to use Evan's question, which is, what is Representative Quigley doing to use congressional oversight powers to obtain these names in DHS operations in Chicago? And how are you helping to fight against everything going on here in Congress and the courts and here on the ground?
Turn the button on. Sorry. Audio difficulties.
This one works.
There we go.
Thank you. First, I have my voice in my vote, and I'm really glad we have extraordinary organizations, the ones that are here tonight, that can bring lawsuits. Believe it or not, and I will tell you, we can't sue unless we're in the majority. So we do amicus briefs and bring folks like Ed with you tonight to talk about what's happening in the courts. We're backing the way we can. I have my vote. Well, we have this shutdown going, and I voted against the funding bill, and I will until they restore Medicaid and health tax credits, and vote against tax breaks for billionaires funded by cuts in their health care, which brings us here. And you know what? If we're not doing anything in DC, it's great to be here. I crisscrossed this city since this all started, and I learned a lot. We have our voice to talk about. So just give you a sample beyond what you heard tonight. When I was at the domestic violence courthouse, we learned from advocates that women aren't getting orders of protection because of ICE going to that court, right? So much for keeping people safe, right? She's a woman are afraid. 90% of the people there are women and children because of ICE going to that courthouse. I've been to food pantries where the lines are shorter because people are afraid of getting food for their kids. And now delivered and now doing drive-thrus. I've been to shelters that have been raided and heard firsthand from people who were affected and by the terrified staff. In fact, the people who would rather
That is correct, Scooter.
have no choice but to be homeless rather than be at risk of being scooped. So we've asked for Inspector General of Homeland Security investigation into what ICE has done, the treatment, particularly the treatment of children, the South Shore raid that you heard about, and many others. We will be in majority again, and we need to document as much of what is taking place right now, because there will be accountability. So we'll be part of that as well. And sharing those stories is particularly important. I also mentioned what was going on in Pilsen and what was going on in the Little Village. The fact that it wasn't just restaurants. I want you to know this. The event planners, people who do make dresses, florists, and so forth. These are all second and third generation family-owned businesses. They're now being devastated. Little Village is the second highest grossing business strip in the entire city. Second only to the Mag Mile. And we were there with them last week. So, look, there's a lot more we are going to do and that I'll do. I'm being trained as a rapid responder, and I work with them. Little could I ever imagine that a president of the United States would say that our cities are a perfect training ground for the military to be used against the enemy from within. So we'll be helping with whistle kits. We'll be helping this week in being part of the walking school bus. And I only encourage you to add your voice and your feet to do much of the same. Thank you.
Okay, I think we got this one to work. So I'm going to pass this over to Ed and Tovia. We had questions about what strategies work best against this administration and what can I do to fight back?
Thank you. First of all, it's great to be here, Congressman, and with all of you, and to this family, let me just say on behalf of Chicago, how sorry I am to hear your story, and I hope that you're reunited soon. I think when you think about this administration, the sort of compelling or overriding desire on their part is to be cruel, is to engage in practices that are, so outrageous that you end up discussing some part of what they're doing rather than the philosophy and the theory that guides all of it. So I think in part, one of the strategies that we're finding, at least in the short term, that works best is to actually get them into court and force them repeatedly to justify their actions and to justify what it is that they're doing in our name with our tax dollars in the way that they engage in these activities on our streets. So, I think many of you have probably heard in the ACLU as part of the legal team that brought a case against ICE and DHS for their use of excessive force and violent tactics aimed mainly at protesters and journalists. Well, when those officials today are under question by a district court judge about why they're engaging in these activities, they talk about the physical safety of the officers, and they talk, for example, about the Southeast Side activity last week that many of us saw, and they mention the fact that they have to be safe and secure in a situation. And when the question comes up about why they ran a car or who decides to use tear gas, there are no answers to these questions. There's no evidence as to why it is. And so, I think one of the things that we thought of as a beginning
Again, this is an emergency one, so people didn't know this was going to go on.
What is actually
I'd say there's about 100 people here.
Activity that we're seeing, and then look at that as a way to again expose the vacuousness of much of what it is that we're seeing, even while we know that there's still harm being done to people on the ground.
Hi, good evening.
Oof.
Good evening. So, my name is Toby Siegel. I work at an organization called the Resurrection Project. We're based in Pilsen and work primarily in Pilsen and back of the yards on the southwest side of Chicago. We're an immigrant rights organization. We have attorneys who represent people in their
No, there is a problem with legal immigration.
Deportation, and we also organize. That means we work with immigrants, mostly immigrant moms on the southwest side of Chicago, who volunteer in their children's elementary schools, who volunteer to be community educators and share know your rights information and connect people to resources. And I've worked in immigrant justice for the last 10 years or so. The last 3 weeks
Jen,
have been
Jen, you didn't do anything wrong, did you?
The 10 years I've worked in this. The folks on my team haven't left their homes in 3 weeks because they're terrified they're not going to come back if they do. It's a level of fear that it is pretty hard for me to even understand in my body what it would mean to not be able to leave my own home. Even just hearing it from my team at work is horrifying. And so it's hard to answer what works because I think if we knew exactly what worked, we'd be doing it. But there are some things that have become really clear. The first is that at risk of sounding trite, caring for one another, knowing our neighbors, protecting participating in the rapid response networks that are now incredibly functional and built up and citywide to alert people of ICE activity, walking folks to school, children to school, at least in the neighborhoods where we work, attendance is way down at schools because parents are fearful of bringing their children to school. We had a parent at one of the schools we run a program in who was detained dropping their child off last week. And so those things really matter. Getting trained in rapid response, as the Congressman mentioned he is, so we can tell people ICE is right here, don't come here, and we can document, and we'll talk in the training later more concretely about how to do that. That's all essential, and I know that because my team at work is telling me, as isolated and terrified as they feel.
Are you kidding?
It means the world to them that there are so many people who love them, who support them, right, and who want to make sure.
Brandon, it's okay if you're a white male. Everyone else is afraid.
So one thing we can do is really immediate ways of taking care of each other. The other thing I think we need to do is, and this is maybe even more pertinent to the folks in this room, I think we have to shift public opinion. Immigrants have been organizing for decades, right, and preparing for this moment. It's more horrific, I think, than anyone could have imagined, and it's an extension of what's been happening for a long time. The Department of Homeland Security has been funded at higher and higher levels and built up, and this didn't happen overnight. And in part, it's because immigration has not been an issue that people vote on, or at least that Democrats vote on, right? Republicans certainly do, but it's we've allowed it to get there. We need to be outraged at a level that shifts the public opinion enough to stop this from continuing. So that means even if you have a member of Congress and senators in Congress and in the Senate who support immigrants, they need to hear over and over and over from us that this is unacceptable. It cannot continue. Call your friends, especially those in
Richard,
Republican districts.
this is like the special guest section. Everybody else is behind me.
Right, for elected officials, that starts to shift things, and we have, it's not there because it's still continuing, right? So it has to get there. This has to be the thing that we vote on. So I think, there's actions we can take right now in our neighborhoods, and then there's something way bigger that has to happen on a national level, and we have to be a part of that, so that this ends. Thank you.
Wow, that was one question.
And just to that point, we were in backyards last week, and during the course of our meeting that went on for about 45 minutes, the rapid response team had to leave us twice to go deal with ICE raids in the neighborhood. So as part of our commitment to them was to inspire our constituents to help carry that water that Toby and her colleagues are taking on in other neighborhoods throughout the city. So we're very pleased to see our constituents stepping up in that effort. So moving on, these questions are probably best answered by Ed, but we have a lot of questions about the state and local response in the courts. So we had one from Linda and Barbara from Ridgeville who asked, excuse my quote, why are ICE thugs allowed to break laws without repercussions, pointing weapons at bystanders, not asking people for identification, physically assaulting people, kidnapping people without giving a reason, using tear gas illegally. We also got a question from Linda at Lincoln Park. What can CPD do to protect people when ICE is trying to force us out of our cars and buildings? So on those items, Ed, do you have?
Yeah, let me start. Thank you. So let me begin by saying that We and the state of Illinois and other legal groups are already fighting back against some of these excesses. As I mentioned, there is a lawsuit with a temporary restraining order now in place that says that ICE and CPD and any other federal officer cannot use projectiles or chemical weapons or the chemical agents on protesters or on people who are simply engaged in First Amendment activity, protesting the activities of ICE anywhere in the Northern District of Illinois.
Except
Now,
for state
we
police.
also know that since that order was issued, there have been instances where we've seen that it's already been violated. The judge called in a regional ICE director today, as well as a regional director of CPD, although Customs and Border Patrol, although it was interesting that the ICE director she originally called in actually got called back to Washington just before he would have had to testify today.
No, I meant that state police is allowed to use non-lethal force.
We're looking for other ways to enforce it. We're looking for other ways to do that. Secondly, in terms of some of the activities of ICE themselves directed towards the people that they are targeting, about 2 weeks ago, a different federal judge extended a consent decree that the National Immigrant Justice Center and the ACLU had won on behalf of the Illinois Coalition of Immigrant and Refugee Rights and organized communities against deportation, or OCAD, called the sNana settlement. That settlement puts limits on what ICE can do in terms of warrantless arrests, in terms of traffic stops, and in terms of collateral arrests. That is, when they arrest someone when they've gone to target someone else. Given the fact that consent decree is now back in place and is being extended for several months, and that ICE now has to share with us the information that they are getting, information about everyone they've arrested without a warrant in the Chicago area for the last several months. Those people should now be eligible for release, and so we'll be working through the court system as quickly as we can to make those changes and to do that. The final part of the question, I think that one of the things that we know is that it is very unlikely that local law enforcement is going to interfere or interdict when federal law enforcement agencies are engaged in activities in the area they say that they're enforcing federal law. That is generally the way that works, that they step aside and don't interfere or don't get involved in those situations. But I think, to the point that Congressman Quigley made in his opening remarks, one of the things that we need to be doing is to capture as much information about these activities so that people are held accountable ultimately for the way in which these actions have taken place on our streets. One of the things I was struck by today, sitting in court and listening to these two officials testify, was that they could not even say if anyone in the Chicago area has been disciplined for the use of excessive force. And we have all seen videos of people being thrown to the ground, people being hit with projectiles, the indiscriminate use of tear gas. Literally, an officer pointing a gun out the window at someone, in suburban Chicagoland over the weekend when they were simply protesting.
Guys, I got hit with pepper spray and rubber bullets, tear gas.
Supporting the activities of these officers, which, by the way, is protected by the First Amendment. And so, therefore, I think the fact that they are not even interested in, that they can't see any of these as violations where someone should get reported or someone should get disciplined is a testament to the fact that accountability is not likely to come from this administration. And we're going to have to fight and continue to work to ensure that it does come, because this is not the kind of thing that we can let happen on our streets and then have no one be accountable for it.
Well, so I'll be 80 before anything's solved.
Our next question is for Representative Quigley. Mike and Rose want to both know what the Democratic Party is doing in this moment.
Thank you. First, I want to point out that this is the agents of chaos theory, is that they're hoping we chase our own tails and we only focus on one thing at a time. Well, as you know, there's 20 to 30 things happening at one time we have to be on. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can and do more than address just this one issue, as absolutely critical as it is. When you think about everything that's going on right now, the trend toward authoritarianism, toward tyranny, that's not just manifested here, right? It's the weaponization of the FCC, weaponization of the Justice Department. We can't let those things pass. We have to do all the things we're talking about tonight on all those other issues as well. There is a member, a soon-to-be member of Congress waiting to get sworn in as soon as we go back into session, right? And when she is sworn in, she's going to be the deciding person on a discharge petition to release the Epstein files.
Oh, snap.
So there's a lot more to do.
Yay.
Think about all the dozens of other issues that are taking place, in addition to the funding issues for health care and the like. Here's an issue you probably haven't heard about for a long time. And it's probably the thing that our grandchildren will be most angry about. And that's climate change. So, where do we stand on that? We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. And, our thoughts and prayers are in the meantime, Trump's tariffs are going to be ravaging through our economy, affecting small businesses.
She's
here
too
in
weak.
Chicago.
They're taking her out
We have
now.
to help them. RFK Jr. is making our healthcare system way, way worse, and this president is banging our allies abroad. So there's just a lot more to do. I love being here with you. We got to get back to D.C. and make these fights. You think it doesn't work? Just remember, they're still doing the Medicaid cuts, but they put them off because of all the pressure they were getting. They didn't want to have that happen before the midterm. It shows No King's March and others, those things actually have an impact. So I encourage you to stay involved, stay engaged, get really good at the things that help change majorities in the House, and stay in touch with us. It's absolutely right. We want to hear from you. Right? And I want to commend my staff. They are really getting super, super busy. And it's a lot tougher now because there's not a lot of people they can call to help you. So I want to thank them for what they do and for what all the staff does for our aldermen, state reps, state senators, county commissioners.
No, actually, there hasn't been any physical attacks against ICE agents. They hit a car once with an egg. The other one was with a stick.
With Representative Jayapal to talk about all these things right here in D.C., a congressional hearing.
But there hasn't been any ICE agents that have been attacked physically.
And recognizing these issues. But we're going to use the leverage of our votes and our votes as much as we can. We will get through this together.
Oh, I don't know about all. I'm guessing because I don't think Portland's had any either. I'm not sure about LA.
I'm going to turn you over to the very capable
Okay, I think we're done for today. She's gonna train, but I don't think I'm gonna stay for the training because that's just.
Let training begin.
So I am in fact gonna step out of the room before she starts. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not gonna give him any time because I'm not sure what it is. Okay. Well, he got up and made his speech. Okay. Oh. Ouch. I'm gonna sign up for a newsletter. I did not do that. Just so I know. Okay, sorry guys. I was writing something. Congressman Quigley's got his microphone still on. Whoops. He left the building. Mic'd up. Hopefully he doesn't go to the restroom first. Well, I thank everybody for coming in. Again, I did not know what this was actually going to be about. So, thank you. I just thought it would be something interesting to cover. Hopefully you guys at least heard what was going on. I wish you all a good night. Thank you to my mods. Again, tomorrow morning I will be out at my usual spot in Broadview. Oh God, Masad, I'd love to hit the, no, I would not love to hit the club. I'm an old lady and I walk the zoo all day today. I want to go home and have dinner and take my shoes off because I have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to get out there by 9. So I'm showing you, this is Ashland and Irving Park. It is a very big intersection. Again, no war, no riots. Actually, there's nobody out here. And it's 6:57 here, so yes, it's just so terribly dangerous to live in Chicago. Even if you look at the streets in Chicago, there's no trash. There's nothing. Okay, I'm calling it quits, guys. Thank you all for coming in. Again, mods, thank you, thank you, thank you. Enjoy your night, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.